This week I learned ℚ Schusterman, he's a monster. But it's not for the reasons you think. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update, and may the 4th be with you. Watching a little original trilogy Star Wars this morning because it doesn't have to be May the 4th for us to do that. That's just like a weekend thing. That's just kind of what we do around here. But a very, very fun week, guys, and we are kicking off May in style by talking about some really, really cool things that I did read in the past week and what I'm going to read. I think is going to be even better. So let's do that, guys. Let's begin by talking about what am I reading. I am about, 70-ish% into book 2 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. This is Carl's Doomsday Scenario. Now, before I start, I have to say, don't panic. I'm going to have some criticism here, but I don't want any. I know the Princess Donut Army is very, very passionate and very overprotective, and I love that about you. I do. I do have some criticisms of this book, and it's going to be constructive criticism because that's what I do here, guys. With this, I feel like not as good as the first book. I'm not miserable by any stretch of the imagination. I'm still having a very, very good time with this series. What really slowed this down for me is the first half of the book. It was kind of a struggle in many regards. And I think because what made book 1 work for me is the dynamic and the dialogue between Donut and Carl. So for the majority of the first half of this book, separating them, not a good plan. It really didn't work for me. It really made it a struggle. I know side quests are going to happen in a video game. That's going to happen. I didn't need it to happen this early in the series. That's something, I don't know, book 3 or 4, you decide to separate those characters. Separating them so early was very, very tough. Right after 3 chapters of building their characters, not exactly how I was hoping to get this one kicked off. So it was tough for me, and I feel like the second half is better so far. I'm really enjoying that. Just the Serena subplot just didn't do anything for me, and it wasn't just because, Donut wasn't there. Just I wasn't really amused by it. I wasn't having a good time. I was reading this series because it was very funny, and I'm going to be honest. I think I've maybe laughed out loud twice this whole book, and not that it has to be a barrel of laughs, but what worked for me with that first book was that I was having a good time. It was fun. This has me kind of worried that this is going to take the Ted Lasso approach. Now, if you don't know what Ted Lasso is, it was a very popular Apple TV series. Now, Ted Lasso started off as a very funny, over-the-top, hilarious comedy. Over time, it became a drama. It became super, super serious. That's what I'm afraid of with this. Is this one of those things where we're going to reel you in with the laughs and the heart, and now we're just going to get super, super serious on it? Because all I hear from people is about like, oh, I don't know how books that were this silly just hit me in the feels. And I'm worried now. I'm a little bit worried that this is just going to be the occasional laugh and a lot more like serious moments. Now, look, if this were real life and that was going on, it would be a very serious moment. This is basically a battle royale. I get it. I understand that. I just hope he doesn't stop having fun, because that's what really brought me to the series in the first place. And this one, it just seems like it's a little more serious, and it's fine. It's fine. Again, like I said, I'm still enjoying the book. I will be reading book 3 whenever I get it. I will be getting book 3 and reading book 3. But as of right now, I was saying that, no, this is a huge step down from book 1 for me. And everybody was telling me that they felt that this was like their favorite book in the series up to like book 5 or something. I'm like, hopefully the second half is really just a banger then, because the first 50% of this was really, really rough for me. And I was like, this is not what I was hoping for. Really just kind of had full momentum going. It just slammed the brakes, and I hated that. I do like that Mordecai is getting a bigger role in the series because I like the Mordecai character a lot. But man, it was like, thank God when he got Carl and Donut back together and the good dialogue started happening again. And actually, you know what? Mongo, underrated animal companion for sure. So whenever I start reading a second book now, maybe some of you are new here. A lot of people, oh my God, you started reading another book while you're reading that one. Does that mean you're not liking it? I almost always am reading 2 books at a time, guys. It's just something I've always done. I always read 2 books at a time, just because if you're starting to get not really annoyed, but you just say, hey, I need a break from that one. I want to read something else. You can do that. So I did pick up and start reading Unwind by ℚ Schusterman. This is book 1 in the Unwind dystology, I believe it is called. So no, it wasn't because of Dungeon Crawler Carl that I picked this up. I just picked it up because, I Dungeon Crawler Carl was upstairs and I had this downstairs, and so that's why I started reading it, honestly. With this, only about a quarter into it, very, very messed up content. I mean, I think if you watched my TBR video, you understand what the content is. I'm not going to get too much into what that is because it's an issue that gets a lot of people to start fighting in the comments, and I never want that here. But it is basically after a second Civil War in America over a specific issue and kind of the aftermath of that. And it's very, very dark content, obviously, when you're dealing with, hey, once you turn 13, you can be turned over to the government and be unwound, as they call it, if your parents think that you're kind of a waste to society or you don't have parents or things like that. Basically, you're not really fulfilling what humanity needs of you. And it's really, really messed up. But I was saying Neal Shusterman's a monster not because he's killing teenage kids in these books, but because apparently caffeine is illegal in this world. I'd be a victim myself to Mars if that was the case. But it's a YA book, so it's going to be really, really quick to read, I think. I just read it a few nights before bed, already a quarter of the way through it. The trio of characters he's put together already has you like wanting to strangle them because they're doing such stupid things. But in this world, and obviously, think back when you were 13. Did you do anything smart? And you weren't running from the government, at that time either. At least I hope you weren't. I hope you weren't doing that at 13 years old. But it's dealing with some very heavy issues, I think. And so it's not going to be for everyone because it might really upset some people, some of the content in here. But I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about it because you guys know I did not like the Toll. But I thought Arc of the Scythe was amazing. Just the first book. The first book in Arc of the Scythe. It was just Scythe, wasn't it? That was amazing. I thought that book was just terrific. It really gave me the Giver vibes of something that I was kind of looking for in that genre. But then it just kind of got worse and worse. So hopefully this doesn't do that. But right now I'm feeling like, okay, maybe this can be a nice series that I do kind of fly through this year because they're all pretty short. They read pretty easy. And I do like the setup that he has here in the premise. It feels very, very, very... it feels like a pre-Hunger... Because I think this did come out before Hunger Games. So it does feel like a pre-Hunger Games world. It's not really like the Battle Royale, but it is very much in that dystopian, near believable dystopian society. And how things could, go one day. But what I like about it is it does have that big social issue in it. But at least so far, Neal's not telling you what to think, telling you what's right or how things should be. This is what happened, and I'm just going to drop you in that world and let you experience it. He's never once grinding an axe, at least, again, not yet. So if you're worried about those things, I do think that you will be safe. And that's why I read it, because when I heard the premise of my wife, I was like, I don't know if I want to touch that one. But she did tell me she doesn't feel like he's grinding an axe or telling you what to think over the social issue that's in the book. But it's a good start. It's a good start, and I am optimistic. So how about what am I going to read, guys? Obviously, I'm going to finish these two this week. That's the plan. That's upside down, isn't it? Does it really matter? Does it really matter? Kind of actually adds to the, kind of what's going on with Dungeon Crawler. World's turned upside down. Anyhow, I'll finish those two this week, and then I'll be doing my long-awaited Return to the Tower, guys. I was doing a Dark Tower reread with some patrons about, 2 years ago. And once I got to Song of Susanna, I just felt like I was being a big wet blanket because they were enjoying it. And it's very well known how I felt about Song of Susanna. And I was like, I don't want to be the wet blanket that ruins it for everyone. I want them to enjoy it if they're enjoying it. So I just kind of backed off. And I never went back to it. And now that I've got there in my Into the Multiverse reading order that I'm doing for the channel, I said, oh, crap. I've got to read Song of Susanna now. So I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet, guys, and I'm going to do that next. Song of Susanna, get out of the way. Thankfully, it's the second shortest book in the Dark Tower series, and I want to say maybe time is a healer on these things, but the things that upset me then still upset me now, so I don't see how that would be the case. But hopefully going into it now, I can kind of go into it with less of my arms crossed and just try to see the good in Song of Susanna. That's really all I got going for this week. This week on the channel, guys, I did get out a couple of videos. We talked about horror books that are just good stories. I think that horror gets this reputation of it's just shock, it's just schlock, it's not really quality material, it's just, turn your brain off and go to a slasher flick. And in a lot of cases, that's true, but there are a lot of horror books out there that are really just incredible stories. They have sensational characters. They have stunning plots. They really have some things that go twisty and turny. They have some great slice of life, some coming of age, some things I think that epic fantasy readers are going to love if they just give it a try. So this isn't really a horror for beginners video. Like I said, I already kind of did that video. This was more of a, say you're not against horror. You've just never really thought of it as anything other than just some mind-numbing fun, just some stupid entertainment. This is some books I think that will really make you think. Some books that really have really great stories in them. And I want to get more horror content on the channel. I know it doesn't do well. I'm not blind to it, guys. It's one of my least viewed videos that I made the past few months. But it's a genre that I love, and I want to talk about it more. And being able to read more horror than just sticking it all in October like I have for previous years has really just reignited my love for it. Now that I'm finding new horror authors that I'm really enjoying, there's some stories out there that I think I want to recommend to some of those people. Maybe if this is their first time coming to the channel, or hey, maybe they just found that top 10 horror novels video that's my most popular video on the channel. Maybe they will come here and say, hey, look, he is talking about some more horror, and these are some books that I do recommend. I wrapped up the month of April and named my book of the month. I'm not sure if my book of the month is a surprise or not. I always say if you watch these weekly updates, it might not be a surprise, but there were 3 books this month I really, really, really liked. And hopefully it was still a surprise to you of what I picked, and you guys can understand why I picked the one that I picked. But it's always fun looking back on the month, seeing what worked and what did not, because guys, this is the time of the year for a lot of YouTubers where for whatever reason, everything on the algorithm just drops off of a cliff. It seems like spring every year, things start to go downhill. So it's always fun to keep a kind of close eye on what's working and what is not for your audience. For some next week plans, I'll do my book haul as per usual, and that way we can officially wrap up the month of April, because I have some wonderful things over there. I want to say thank you to viewers and authors and publishers for sending me some absolutely beautiful books that I want to show you guys. But again, like I said, if you've been here a while, you know what a book haul does dictate. Thinking about doing another standard book review. Now, I know that these are like, for whatever reason these days. But when you have a book that just kind of completely blows you away like this one, I think you really want to talk about it. And it's a book that I feel like not enough people are talking about. That I think you go on Goodreads and it has maybe 300 reviews. And I'm like, for a book like this, are you kidding me? This is a book I think is like the ℚ𝕦𝕣𝕠𝕜 series when I first reviewed it 5 years ago, before anyone were really talking about it. This is one that I feel like, okay, if people give this a try, I think they're going to like it quite a bit. Not that it's like ℚ𝕦𝕠𝕠𝕜, I'm saying that situation is similar. That when I was reading ℚ𝕦𝕠𝕠𝕜 for the first time, I'm like, why is this not more popular? Why are there 50 reviews for this on Goodreads? This is incredible. That's kind of how I felt about this. This is something that I feel like needs to get a spotlight shined on it. And that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to try to give it a standard book review and tell you guys why this needs to be a TBR breaker for you. You need to put this on your list immediately if you like this, this, and this. And we're going to talk about what this, and this does entail in that video. But guys, that's really all I have for the books this week. Are a couple of things going on outside of that, some TV and movie talk things. Look, I gotta talk about these James Gunn Superman rumors. These are just rumors. These are just rumors, so take them with a mountain-sized grain of salt. I don't verify these things or what. I don't know what's just a smear campaign. I don't know if it's just people looking for clicks. But what I will say about them is, because there are enough people talking about it now that it seems like it might be legit. Because the first screenings have happened, and it seems like a lot of these things are being confirmed. If these rumors are true, I am incredibly disappointed. Incredibly. Because I thought that James Gunn was a good pick to kind of lead off this new DC on film. Look, full disclosure, guys, I'm a humongous DC Comics fan. Always have been. Been a Justice League guy my whole life. I love Marvel as much, but it's one of those things where, like, I hate that DC characters have kind of become a punchline in the age of the MCU, because they put the wrong people in charge. Warner Brothers always puts the wrong people in charge of DC properties. Outside of like Christopher Nolan and maybe Tim Burton, I feel like they always end up picking the wrong people to do these things. And it doesn't seem to be any different here, which is very disappointing, guys, because I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is amazing. I love that series so much. I love Slither. I think James Gunn's a very good filmmaker. So I was very, very happy to see that he was going to be in charge of this. He's even showing love to Green Lanterns and things. That seems awesome. Now all these rumors have come out that this movie is just basically Superman getting canceled by social media hashtags and making him super sad. And then Lex Luthor is the one behind it with a bunch of bots. That's the storyline. And I just cannot believe, like, this movie really is based on someone starting a hashtag super shit. That's seriously it. I would be absolutely floored if this is true. But if it is, it's just, I feel like this is going to kill DC on film for a generation. It's on the brink right now. Because, look, I know a lot of you out there love the Snyderverse stuff. Let's be honest. With casual, general audiences, it didn't work. They didn't like it. As a DC fan, I didn't like a lot of it. I thought Man of Steel gets a bad rap. I liked Man of Steel. I thought Henry Cavill was great. I thought that there was things. Was it a perfect movie? Of course not. They're superhero movies. Hardly any of them are. But it did a lot of the Superman things right that I did love. Batman v Superman, it was like all downhill from there. There was hits, there was misses, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, there was hits and misses along the way. But I feel like this film universe is on life support. You needed to come out with a banger. You're going to get rid of Henry Cavill, who is a great Superman. So you're going to start your new chronology, I guess. They seem like they're so non-committal on that. Is it a new timeline? Is it not? So you're going to get a new Superman, and you say, okay, this is basically like a soft reboot. This movie needed to be an absolute smash hit to get the audiences back on your side. If this is what it is, it will not be. And that's very, very frustrating because I'll never get to see my Sinestro Corps War on the big screen. Because for me to ever get to Blackest Night, Green Lantern, I'm going to have insane hits for DC on film for that to ever happen. And it's not going to happen. It's so frustrating as a fan of DC Comics that this is what keeps happening. Why do you keep hiring the wrong people? I thought James Gunn was the right person because he's one of us. He's a nerd. He loves this stuff. He's all in on comics. I don't understand why this need to make it our own thing. Go make your own fucking thing. Quit hijacking these properties to do stuff like this. It's so crazy that Superman has such an incredible rogues gallery and great storylines. This is what you came up with on a soft reboot for Superman. I pray that this is wrong. Because for real, the backlash is going to be immense. We needed a movie that was a crowd pleaser. We're not going to get anywhere with the DC on film with another, well, it's going to be divisive. That's just an awful, awful plan. So again, I am praying that these rumors are wrong. Because super shit, that's really what you came up with? I feel like my 13 and 10-year-old could have wrote better storyline than that for Superman. It's so disappointing. It's so disappointing, and it just feels like I'm never going to get the DC universe that I want. I finally got the Marvel one that I'd always hoped for as a kid. And even though it's kind of stayed past its welcome, that's a different story. But for this, it's like I never got those highs with DC on film that I did with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's just sad. It's just sad to me. Why can't you get people who love these properties and want to tell these stories in the way that these heroes that have been around for 100 years... Why can't we do this? I just don't understand. It shouldn't be this hard. Why must you needlessly complicate everything? Okay, I'm done. Family movie night. We watched Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. You guys ever seen that? If you have, you probably felt a little sting right here. Man, this is one of those movies that's right up there with E.T. that it's going to get tears out of me every single time. 100% success rate. It's just so touching of a film. It really is, and you would think, dude, it's a talking dog movie or talking pets movie because there's a cat as well. It's a talking pets movie where the dogs and the cats' mouths don't even move. It's just actors over just whenever they're on the screen. It's just an overdub. It shouldn't have this much of an effect, but holy crap! Like the last 10 minutes is just freaking Niagara Falls, baby. It's bad, but it's really great. It's aged incredibly well for a movie that's 30 years old. It still has so much heart, and it will get you. Even the toughest son of a bitch out there will be really, really hit hard. I feel you watch this movie and you feel nothing. I feel like you're either just trying to prove a point that you're Mr. Tough Guy or you just have no heart, man, because that movie will punch you where it hurts. Because I think in the end, something that works for everybody is love for pets. I feel like we all have a love for pets, be it in our past or current. Everybody, that's why the serial killers are like the only ones that are really mean to animals, I feel like. So this is a movie, I think, if you've got young kids, man, watch it immediately. It's streaming on Disney Plus if you have that. I have the old DVD. It was a movie that I loved when I saw it as a teenager, and I still love it today, and sharing it with my kids, even knowing that it just completely, like my youngest cried like 3 times in the movie. My oldest is going through his Mr. Tough Guy phase, but even he was kind of hiding the fact that he was wiping it away there with Shadow in the pit there at the end. Yeah, it was really, really good. It was really, really good. It's aged incredibly well. It's right there where the red fern grows. It's hard to even talk about it without getting a little misty like I'm doing right now. Great flick, guys. Great, great flick. If you have kids, again, watch it immediately. Stop what you're doing, check it out, and watch it with your kids because I think they'll love it. And it's one of those kind of movies. It's a movie for kids that I think adults will love just as much. I think that you, again, if you've ever had a dog or a cat that you've been really, really close to, because this is a boy and his dog movie, but it's also a girl and a cat movie. It really has all those things there, and I think that you'll find plenty to like. Plus, the voice cast is just stellar. Sally Field, Michael J. Fox, Don Amici. Great, great voice cast. Stay away from the sequel, no matter what you do. I don't really have gaming talk, guys, but I know a lot of people have been asking me about, what's it called, Expedition 33. It's getting like completely crazy accolades. Everyone's saying it's amazing. 11 out of 10. Game of the year. No doubt. It's a game that has a really, really small development team nobody saw coming. I have downloaded it on Game Pass. But look, I'm knee deep in these Resident Evil remakes right now, and I don't want to just. That's what I always do. I start a game, and then a new one comes out, and I start playing it. And I forget about the other one. I've got like 9 games right now that I'm in the middle of, you know. So I'm like, okay, these Resident Evil games are short, so maybe just focus on them right now. Plus, my wife's kind of taken over the TV. She downloaded Blueprints on Game Pass. That was something that when I was talking about this game, a lot of people that have Game Pass were saying, "Have you tried Blueprints yet?" I was like, no, and I checked it out. I was like, oh, that looks like a game for my wife. Yeah, now she's completely taken over the TV because it's a puzzler that makes you think a lot. I mean, she's got out the notebook and she's taking notes. She's trying to figure out everything. It looks way too smart for me, but she's the smart one in the family, so maybe she's going to figure that out. But she's having a great time with that. But I will get to Expedition 33, but it probably won't be until this summer because, like I said, I'd like to play at least Resident Evil 2 through 4, the remakes, before I get into a game this big. I still got the Oblivion remake to play. I mean, I played it before, but still, I want to play it. I just wish I could get paid to read books. I wish I could get paid to play video games. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't, right? Except the people who actually get paid to play video games. But, guys, if it feels like I'm a little cynical this week, that Superman news just really, really just messed me up. It just made me so upset. Can't believe that this is happening again. So sorry if I brought you down with that. And again, I do hope it's wrong because I love those characters and I have a lot of respect for James Gunn. And if this is what happens, man, it's gonna go down quite a bit. So guys, I'd love to know what you're watching, what you're reading, what you listen to, what you're playing. Why don't you drop in the comments, guys, and let me know. And have yourselves an awesome, awesome weekend.